So in the last session, we have discussed about the enhancer list view and what exactly the enhancer list view, what is the use, and how can we customize that enhancer list view by adding some more filters, and how can we add our own list view options based on the customer requirement we have discussed practically. And then how can we add our own conditions inside that, everything we have discussed now. So now we'll see the object IDs. So what exactly in object ID? What is the use, or what is the significance of this object ID? We'll see practically over here. Now, for example, when coming to the Salesforce instance, we are having so many objects are available that already you are aware of that. Like Salesforce has given so many ready-made objects to us as part of the Salesforce CRM application. Like we are having the campaign object, lead object, account object, contact object, opportunity, case, solution, order, task, event, like that so many object names we have discussed in our previous sessions. So these are all are the ready-made objects which has been given by Salesforce by default. So which are used to store the CRM related data. And along with that, sometimes depends upon my application requirement, we can create our own custom objects as well. So whatever the objects may be available inside your organization, each and every object can be identified by using a unique identification number that is called as object ID. For each and every object, Salesforce is allocating a unique identification number that is called as object ID. So which is a 3 characters alphanumerical number. Okay, which is a 3 characters alphanumerical number which will be assigning by the Salesforce by default, which is a random number. So we can't change that number. That will be the fixed one. So whatever the things has been assigned by the Salesforce, those things should be always read only. We can't change those values. We can't modify those values here. Now, so now here in this case, when coming to the Salesforce, for each and every object, Salesforce will allocate a unique identification number, which is a 3 characters alphanumerical numbers. Which is a 3 characters alphanumerical number. Then how can we identify the IDs of each and every object? How can we get the idea of each and every object? How do we know? Now let's see practically in this case. For example, we are having so many objects are available here. And for each and every object, Salesforce is allocating the ID. Then how can we get the idea of each and every object? Now let's see practically here. Like for example, I'm having the campaign object. I'm having the lead object, account, contact, opportunity, case, solution. Like the similar way we are having some order. So many other objects are also available here. Now let's see. So what exactly the idea of each and every object? Now, then how can we get the ID of this object? Now let's see. Suppose if you want to know the ID of an object, just go to that objects tab. Okay, just go to that objects tab. Like for example, I want to get the ID of this campaign object over here. So that, go to that objects tab. For the campaign object, what is the tab has been given by Salesforce? The tab is campaigns. So by using this campaigns tab, we can able to interact with the campaign object and we can perform all the DML operations on the campaign records. So that, just click on this campaigns tab. Now it is providing some URL. Okay, upon click on this campaigns tab, the URL will be given by the Salesforce in the address bar. Just copy that URL. Okay, copy that URL. I'm pasting over here. Like the similar way, I want to get the ID of the lead object here. So go to that leads tab. Click on this leads tab. Copy this URL. Whatever the URL has been generated by Salesforce, copy that URL. Account. So that click on this accounts tab. Copy the URL. I'm pasting over here. Contacts. Click on contacts. Copy the URL and paste inside this. Next, opportunity. Click on this opportunities tab. Copy the URL and paste over here. Next, the case. Click on the cases tab. Copy the URL and then paste it. And the solution object also. I'm copying the URL and pasting it over here. Now, so in this case here, I have copied the URL of so many objects over here. When you go to this URL, okay, when you go to this URL, most of the URL is common. Like for example, so up to this part, this is common. Like as ap.salesforce.com. That means AP means AP0. ap0.salesforce.com. Up to this is common. After that, there is a 3 characters alphanumerical number is available here. Okay, there is a 3 characters alphanumerical number is available, which is called as this object ID. This is called as object ID. Like for the campaign, we are having this object ID 701. For the lead, 00Q. For the account, 001. Contact, 003. Opportunity, 006. 500, nothing but the case. Solution, 501. Like that here, for each and every object, Salesforce is providing an object ID over here. So this is object ID has been assigned by the Salesforce by default. Now, so now these are the object IDs here. So these are the object IDs which has been assigned by the Salesforce. So these are the object IDs here. Now, the campaign object ID is 701, lead object ID is 00Q, and the account object ID is 001, contact ID is 003, opportunity is 006, case 500, solution 501, like that. For each and every object, Salesforce is allocating that ID here. If it is an order object ID is 801. And then we have task object. Task object ID is 00T. And the event object here. Event object ID is 00U. And we have the group object. Group object ID is 00G. And we have user object. User object ID is 005. Like that here, for each and every object, Salesforce is allocating a unique identification number over there. Okay. For every object, Salesforce is allocating a unique identification number, which is called as object ID, which is a 3 characters alphanumerical number. Now, suppose in future, if you are creating your own custom object also, then for that object also, Salesforce will allocate a unique identification number automatically by default. That too, a 3 characters alphanumerical number, that value will be generating randomly by Salesforce itself. For two objects, it can't assign a same object ID here. Object to object IDs are unique always. Now, so in this case here, you can raise the question, sir, I'm having some hundreds of objects in Salesforce. Do I need to remember all these object IDs? No, no need to remember that. Whatever the objects that you are frequently using, okay, these basic objects IDs, you just can remember. Because remembering all the object IDs are very, very difficult. We can't remember, we can't recollect the whole information. So that here, whatever the object, nothing but some basic objects are available. So now these basic object IDs that you can remember over here. Now, so now here in this case, what is the significance of this object ID? Why do we need to remember here? Why do we need to remember these object IDs? Basically, we have two significant benefits are available with this object ID here. Now, we have two benefits. We have two benefits are available with this object ID. Now, the first benefit is by using this object ID, we can switch or we can jump from one object to another object directly here. We can switch or we can jump from one object to another by placing the object ID inside the URL. Inside the URL. Now, so now for example, assume that currently I'm into the solution object here. Okay, currently I'm into the solution object because solutions tab has been selected here. So I'm into the solution object. Now, so for example, I would like to go to the account object over here. Okay, I would like to go to that account object. I'm using a desktop system. I'm using the mouse. So what needs to be done? We have to click on that accounts tab by using your mouse so that we can able to jump. But for example, suddenly my mouse is not working. The mouse is not working. Then in this case, what needs to be done? Just you can go to the URL. Okay, by using the tab button, we can move to the URL. In this URL, you will be having that object ID inside the URL. Just remove that object ID here, 501, and then up to ap.salesforce.com is common. After that, specify your object ID. I want to go to the account object here. What is account object ID? 001. Once you press enter, we can go to that account object over here. Now, so now we have moved to that account object. We can able to see the account object records inside this. For example, I want to go to that the case object here. Go to the URL, specify the case object ID that is 500. Now we can able to move to the case object over here. Suppose for example, if you want to go to that lead, specify that object ID 00Q, press enter. Now we can see that lead records information. Sometimes I want to go to that the opportunity, so let's specify 006. Press enter. We can go to the opportunity object directly here. That means what? Instead of using that mouse pointer, we can able to jump from one object to another object just by using that object ID by placing inside the URL. Because when you go to some business users are very familiar with the keyboard. They won't show interest to use mouse because it will take some time. So that most of the people will go to that shortcut keys. So that here they will use that keyboard. So now in this case here, when coming to the Salesforce, they have given this option that just by placing the object ID inside the URL, we can jump into that object directly over here. That flexibility is available to you. Now, for example, assume that, so these are the objects are available on my URL address bar. On my tab bar, these are the various objects are available. It has campaign, lead, account, contact, opportunity, case, and the solution. For example, I want to go to that order object. I want to see order records, or I want to create a new order record. What needs to be done? Do we have the order tab over here? No, there is no orders tab. then what needs to be done generally? Click on the plus symbol. Okay, click on the plus symbol. Click on Customize My Tabs button. Select that Orders tab onto that selected list, and then click on Save. Then automatically Orders tab will be getting visible to you. Click on this Orders tab, and then we can create a new order record here. But in this case, it will be taking very lengthy. Okay, it will be a lengthy URL here. But in this case, I don't want to go to that lengthy URL. Simply, I would like to go to my address bar, into my URL over here. And then inside this URL, I would like to specify the order object ID. Order object ID is 801. Just to specify that order object ID, we can able to see that order records information. Whatever the orders are available will be getting visible to you over here. And then if you want to create a new order, there is a button is available, new order button. So that directly we can jump. Even though the object or the tab may be available on the tab bar or not, no need to worry about that. So directly we can jump into the object just by placing that object ID inside the URL. So this is one of the shortcut mechanism which has been given by Salesforce. Just by placing this object ID inside the URL, we can jump into that object as well. That flexibility is available to you. This is the first benefit of object ID here. Now, the second benefit here. The second benefit is by using this object ID, we can recognize the records. Okay, we can recognize the records. Recognizing the record means what? For example, whenever I'm going to be creating a record, okay, whenever I'm creating the record inside an object, then how can we recognize each and every record? How can we identify each and every record? Maybe sometimes I'm creating two records with the same details. I'm creating two records with the same details. For example, assume that I went to a bank to open a bank account. How many bank accounts can I have? Multiple. Because I want to maintain multiple bank accounts. One is for my personal use. Second one is for my business transaction or for my salary purpose. So upon creating that bank account, I'm giving the same details, same PAN number, same Aadhaar card number, same contact number, same email ID, same first name, last name, everything is same. No change. But how can we differentiate those accounts? By using that account number. For every bank account, they are giving a different account number here. Account number will be different always. Even though the remaining details may be same, because customer is same. He is holding some multiple accounts. So the details are same, but the account numbers are different. Here also, inside a single object, we can create some multiple records as well. Whenever I'm going to be creating a record, for each record, Salesforce is allocating a unique identification number that is called as record ID. For each and every record, Salesforce will be allocating a unique identification number that is called as record ID, which will be generating by Salesforce, which we can't change. Okay, which we can't change. We can't modify that record ID. That will be the fixed one. That will be the fixed one. So now here in this case, when coming to the record ID contains 18 characters. It's a 18 characters ID which has been generated by Salesforce. So this 18 characters is record ID will be generating by Salesforce with a specific format. So there is a predefined format is available for this record ID over here. So what is that format? The first three characters. First three characters is representing the object ID. Inside the record ID, it contains the first three characters are the object ID here. Because to indicate to which object this record is associated, okay, to which object this record is associated, we can identify by using this first three characters of the record ID. Next, the remaining 15 characters. Remaining 15 characters are the actual record ID. The remaining 15 characters are called as the actual record ID here. So from these remaining 15 characters, the last three characters are called as the checksum value. The checksum value. This is also called as the transaction code. This is also called as transaction code. So in this case, when coming to the Salesforce, for each and every record which I am creating inside an object, in any object you can create the record, that ID will be 18 characters. All the records. So for each and every record, Salesforce is allocating a unique identification number that is called as a record ID, which is a 18 characters alphanumerical number. And that too, this record ID is a case sensitive. Okay, this is a case sensitive ID here. Okay, this is a case sensitive ID. This is a case sensitive ID. So upon creating a new record, automatically Salesforce will generate that ID. That ID will be assigning to that record itself. So by using that record ID, we can able to recognize that record uniquely. Even though the remaining details may be same. We can differentiate the records based on the record ID itself. Now, so now here in this case here, like for example, this is not a normal format. This is like as a normal general format only. For example, assume that I'm having a PAN number. I think everybody will be having their own PAN number, income tax number. So like we are having the PAN number like this here. Now my PAN number will be looking like this. So in this one, what will happen here? Inside this PAN number, there is a format. Okay, there is a format. Like the first four. Okay, the first four will be the characters. First five will be the characters. And then the next four will be the digits. Next four will be the digits. And then the last one will be the character again. Last one will be the character. So this is the PAN number over here. Everybody's PAN number will be in the same format. Totally, the PAN number will be having 10 digits, which is alphanumerical value, where the first 5 will be the characters, next 4 will be the digits, and the last one will be the characters here. This is the PAN number format. Now in this case here, like the similar way, when coming to the Salesforce also, for each and every record, Salesforce is allocating a unique identification number that is called as record ID, which is 18 characters. In these 18 characters, the first 3 characters are the object ID. Okay, first 3 characters are object ID. That means to which object this record is associated. We can recognize very easily here. Now, suppose for example here, assume that I'm having the record ID here. Now, let's see how can we get the record ID. For example, I'm using this account object. In that account object, we have created a record. So what is that record here? Markup Pharma. This is the record we have created. So click on this record name. Record has been opened. So now Salesforce is generating the record ID. How many characters? 18 characters. Then where we can get that record ID? Once you go to that URL, okay, inside this URL you will be having the ID of the record. Okay, you will be having the ID of the record here. This is the record ID. Now, just to copy the URL, I'm pasting over here. So now here, after this ap.salesforce.com, here I'm having this record ID. This is the ID. Okay, this is the ID. Now this ID is starting with what? 001. 001 means what? Account. Okay, 001 means account. There is an account object. So this record is what? Account record. It's a general format. Like for example, today, assume that I'm having, I have received one call. Today morning I have received a call. So that call will be started, the call nothing but that number has been started with like this here. Plus 91 some number value. So this is the number here from which I have received that call. Now how do you know from which country we have received this call? This is from India. How do you know? Because it is starting with plus 91. Plus 91 is what? The India's country code. For example, I have received the call like this here. Plus 61, I have received that call. Now here this call is from where? From Australia. Because plus 61 is Australia's country code. For example, I have received the call plus 81 and some value. So now this call is from what? From Japan. Because plus 81 is the Japan's country code. Like that here, based on the starting three characters, we can able to recognize from which country we have received this call. Or whenever you are going to your vehicle numbers also, based on the starting two digits, we can understand to which state this vehicle is associated. We can directly identify. Like the similar way, once you are having the record ID, just by verifying that first three characters, we can identify to which object this record is associated. Okay, the first three characters inside that record ID will be recognizing or identifying that object ID, to which object this record is associated. So now here in this case, whatever the record ID, okay, whatever the record ID has been given by Salesforce, so that will be 18 characters ID, but inside the URL it won't display the complete 18 characters ID here. Let me verify. So now here in this case, how many characters are there? Here we are having 15 characters. Then where is the remaining characters over here? Where is the remaining characters? Remaining three characters will not be visible to you inside the URL because of the security reasons. Because of the security reasons, Salesforce won't display the complete 18 characters ID inside the URL. It will display the first 15 characters ID. The last three characters, nothing but the checksum value or the transaction code will not be visible inside the URL because of the security reasons. So why? Because is, now here it is indicating clearly, Salesforce is using HTTPS protocol to get the data. And then the data is available inside that EAP0 server. This server belongs to the Salesforce.com. In that one, they are having an object called the table called as 001. And this is the record ID here. Suppose here, if it is showing the complete 18 characters ID, then this URL is indicating the complete path of the record. If the complete path is visible inside the URL, then it is very easy for the hackers to hack your information. So for that reason, to maintain the security for your record, Salesforce won't display the complete 18 characters ID of your record. It will display the first 15 characters ID only. The last three characters of the record ID will not be visible inside the URL because of the security reasons. Now, so once you go to this record here, once you go to this record, it is providing that 15 characters ID over here. This is the 15 characters ID which has been given by Salesforce. But the last three characters will not be visible to you inside the URL because of the security reasons. Now, in this case, this 15 characters ID is a sensitive? Yes. How can we verify that? So now this is the record ID is available here. The last character is small h. Now I'm removing this small h, I would like to specify the capital H here. I'm placing the capital H. When you press enter, let's see, data not available. That means what? We can't get that record information because record ID is purely case sensitive. So we have to enter that value exactly in the same format, in the same case. So now I'm removing that capital H, I'm placing that small h over here. Press enter, now we can able to get that record information. So that the 15 characters ID is purely a case sensitive. Then what about the 18 characters ID? Now you can raise a question. Sir, whenever I'm creating the record, Salesforce is generating 18 characters ID, but inside the URL it is showing only the first 15 characters ID over here. Last three characters will not be visible inside the URL. Then do we have any chance to see that 18 characters ID? Yes, there is a possibility. Then how can we get that complete 18 characters ID? So now we can get the complete 18 characters ID by making a query to the database here. Now, we can get the complete 18 characters ID 18 characters record ID by making a query to the database. By making a query to the database, we can able to get that complete 18 characters record ID as well. That flexibility is available to you. Then how can we query this information? Now let's see practically. In this case here, in order to query this record, we need to use a query editor. Okay, we have to use a query editor. So where is that query editor option? How can we go to the query editor? Now let's see practically. In this case, you are having a small navigation. Click on your name on the top right corner and expand it. Click on your name and expand it. And then click on Developer Console. Developer Console. Go to the editor and click on Query Editor tab in the tab bar. Click on Query Editor tab on the tab bar. And then type the below query, fetch the records from the object. I would like to query the data here. For example, I would like to query, I am using a select statement. I would like to query that ID of the record, name of the record from account object. Okay. So I am using that, I would like to fetch ID column value and the name column values from the account object. So that I am preparing the query. And then click on execute button. And then it is producing the results over here. See the results in the result window. So this is the navigation process in order to see the records available inside your object here, where we can able to see the complete 18 characters ID of your record. Not only the 15 characters, complete 18 characters ID of the record will be getting visible to you. We can query from the database itself. Now let's see how can we query this information. Let's go to your Salesforce instance. Go to your name on the top right corner and expand it. So now here you will be having an option called as Developer Console. Okay, click on this Developer Console. Now Salesforce is providing a separate editor over here. Okay, so now inside this Developer Console, there is a tab is available. This is the tab bar. This is the tab bar. Inside this tab bar, you will be having a tab called as Query Editor tab. Okay, there is a Query Editor tab. Sometimes this tab will be in the collapsible mode. Okay, because here it is having the expand and collapsible option is available here. So now sometimes this tab will be visible like this, collapsible mode. So, but don't worry about that. You will be having this option to expand this tab. So now there is an option. Click on this one. We can able to expand the tab bar over here. Click on this Query Editor tab. Here we can able to write this query. I would like to write that query over here. Select the ID and the name from account. So from whatever the object you would like to fetch the data, specify that object name and then specify the columns information. So don't worry about this SOQL queries. We'll see. Okay, during the development, we'll see how can we write these SOQL queries, what kind of conditions we can apply, everything we'll see practically over there. Now, so once you have prepared your query, then click on execute button. Okay, here there is an execute button is available at the last. Now click on this execute button. Now we can able to see those records information. So now it is populating the totally 13 records. So now we have the query results are totally 13 records has been written by this SOQL query. That means that totally 13 records are available inside my account object. So now in this records, I'm having my record is also available like as some Merck Pharma. For this record, this is the ID has been generated by Salesforce here. This is the ID. Now, just to double click on the ID, copy that. Okay, we can copy this record ID. I'm pasting over here. So I'm pasting over here. This is the record ID. which has been generated by Salesforce. Now tell me how many characters are available. Inside the URL, it is showing only the first 15 characters, but inside the object, nothing but inside the table, it will be having that complete 18 characters ID also. Okay, complete 18 characters ID also. So, in order to fetch the data from your object, we can use either 15 characters ID or 18 characters ID also. But Salesforce is preferring to go with that 15 characters here. Okay, Salesforce is preferring to go with that 15 characters ID. So within that Salesforce instance, we can able to get the records based on the 15 characters ID itself. Now, in this case here, how can we get the record by using complete 18 characters ID here? Now copy the ID here. Go to your Salesforce instance. After this ap.salesforce.com, remove this ID. I'm pasting my 18 characters ID here. Press enter. We can see that record again. That means what? We can fetch the record details by specifying either 15 characters ID or 18 characters ID also. That flexibility is available to you. Now, in this 18 characters ID, for example, the last character is capital D. I'm changing it to small d here. When you press enter, it will be giving this information. Now we can't fetch the data over here. Okay, we can't fetch that information. I'm making it as capital D. So now we can able to fetch that information as well. That means what here? By using this 15 characters ID or 18 characters ID, we can fetch the data, and at that time, these IDs are purely the case sensitive. It may be 15 characters, it may be 18 characters ID also. This is purely the case sensitive ID. So that here, by using this object ID, we can recognize to which object this record is associated. For example, I'm having a record. So no need to look into the entire record to understand to which object this record is associated. Is it account record or contact record or case record or solution record? How do we know? Just to go to that record ID, and in that record ID get the first 3 characters and then identify, which is very easy here. So now the second benefit is, by using object ID, we can recognize the records based on the first 3 characters ID. Based on the first 3 characters in the record ID. So that flexibility is available. Just by looking into the first 3 characters, we can understand to which object this record is associated. If it is starting with a 001, that means account record. If it is starting with a 005, case record. Sorry, the user record. If it is starting with some 701, campaign record. If it is starting with some 006, opportunity record. If it is starting with some 501, solution record. Like that, we can able to understand very easily. This is the significance benefit of this object ID. So by using this object ID, we have 2 benefits are available. Directly, we can able to jump from one object to another object by using this object ID by placing inside the URL. Second benefit is, we can able to identify the records. To which object this record is associated, we can recognize directly just by getting the first 3 characters inside the record here. Inside the record ID, get the first 3 characters, and then directly we can understand to which object this record is associated. Okay. So this is the concept of record ID and the object ID. Object IDs are always 3 characters, and the record IDs are always 18 characters over here. The two, this record ID is purely a case sensitive ID which has been allocated by Salesforce. Okay. Now, so this is the concept of object IDs and the record IDs in Salesforce, which is very, very important. Because when moving forward, if you want to see or if you want to query the data from the database, then we have to pass the record ID. So based on the record ID only, we can recognize the records very easily here. For that reason, record IDs are very, very useful upon managing the records. Suppose if you want to delete a record, then pass the record ID, remove that. So then you can raise the question, sir, why can't we remove the record based on name? So based on name also we can remove. But with the same name, if you are having some two records are available, then both the records will be getting removed. But I don't want to remove both, I want to remove only one. So pass the record ID and we can remove that. That flexibility is available. Okay. The next one. Now we'll see the concept of applications. So what exactly an application? What is the use? And what type of applications are available in Salesforce? How to see what applications are available inside my organization? We'll see practically. Now, for example, assume that I want to build an insurance application. Okay, I want to build an insurance application. I want to build an insurance application. So by using this application, what we can do, we can able to manage application, nothing but insurance related data. Okay, I want to build an insurance application through which I would like to manage my insurance related data. So now tell me, as part of insurance application, what kind of data we can manage? When coming to my insurance organization, we are offering so many insurance policies. So these policies we are giving to the various customers. Customers are utilizing our policies and they're paying some premium amounts as well. And then whenever they are meeting with some accidents or some hospitalizations, at that time they would like to make it claim. They are going to be reimbursing that account here. So in this case, as part of my insurance application, I'm having so many branches are available where my insurance organization is having so many branches in different cities. To store all those branches information, I would like to use a branch table. Okay, I would like to use a branch table. To store all the branches information, I want to use a branch table here. So branch table. Next. So not to manage that. Inside my each and every branch, I'm having so many employees. So that to store all those information, we need a separate table, employee table. And then, along with that, as part of my insurance organization, we are having so many marketing executives. Who are those marketing executives? Those are nothing but insurance agents. So that to store all those agents' information, I would like to use the agent table. In this agent table, I would like to store all the insurance agents' information. Next, we are providing various types of policies, insurance policies, so that to store all this information, I'm using the policy table. So for every policy, we are having some premium details are available. So that to store all this information, I'm using the premium detail table. Next. Now, we are giving these policies to the various customers. To store that all those information, I'm using the customer table. Customers are raising so many claims. To store that information, I'm using the claim table. Claim table. Like that here. That means what we are going to be keep on storing so much information related to my insurance organization. So by using this application, I would like to manage this whole data over here. I would like to manage the branches information, my employees information, agents information, policies information, premium details information, and then my customers information, nothing but the policy holders information, and then their claims information, everything. I'm managing this whole information over here. These are nothing but the tables. Then how can we manage the data inside the table? For that one, do we need a tab is required or not? Yes, we need a tab. So now whenever if I'm having an object, then what is the tab name here? That already you are aware of that. Object name will be always a singular and the tab name will be in the plural format. So now for this branch object, we need a separate tab, and for the employee object, we need a separate tab. For the agent object, a separate tab. For the policy object, a separate tab. Premium detail is separate tab. Customer table is separate tab. Claim table is separate tab. So for that one, we need some separate tabs. So now here we need the tabs over here, like as branches tab. And then we need employees tab. And then we need the agents tab. We need the policies tab. And then we need the premium details tab. And then we need the customers tab. And then we need the claims tab. So these are the various tabs are required, because here, in order to manage the records inside this table, to insert some new records, to modify, to delete, and to view the records, we need some tab. So that for each and every object, we need the tabs over here. Now, the combination of all these tabs, okay, the combination of all these tabs are called as an application. Okay, the combination of all these tabs are called as an application over here. So now here in this case, how can we identify an application? Application is nothing but a collection of tabs. Okay, application is nothing but a collection of tabs, which is used to manage application specific data. Okay, which is used to manage an application specific data. So the combination of all these tabs are called as an application. So this is called as an application. So when coming to the application contains a collection of tabs. That means which is having a set of user interfaces through which we can able to manage the records inside that associated object here. Okay. Now, in this case, when coming to the applications, we are having two types of applications are available in Salesforce. We have two types of applications. So what are those two types of applications over here? So now we are having two types of applications, like as standard applications, and the second one is the custom applications. Standard applications and the custom applications. Then what do you mean by standard application? What do you mean by custom application? Standard means what? Ready-made. Okay, ready-made. So standard applications are nothing but the ready-made applications which has been given by Salesforce by default. So as part of Salesforce CRM application, Salesforce has given so many ready-made applications to you. Like here, we'll see. When you go to your Salesforce instance, at the top right corner, you will be having the applications list. So this is the applications list here. These are the ready-made applications which has been given by Salesforce by default. Like Salesforce has given that sales application, service application, marketing, app launcher, community, site.com, Salesforce charter, content. These are the various ready-made applications which has been given by Salesforce by default. So these are comes under the standard applications. So standard applications are nothing but the ready-made applications which has been given by Salesforce by default. Now, what we can do on these standard applications, we can able to customize. That means whatever the features has been given by Salesforce as part of these applications, we can able to customize those features. We can leverage the functionalities, but we can't remove this application from the organization. Okay, we can't remove this standard application from your organization because it will be impacting on the other users. Of course, it may not be useful to you, but for the other users, it will be required. So that here we can able to customize this application, but we can't remove this standard application from my organization. That will be the fixed one. We can't change. So now here in this case, when coming to the standard applications, standard application can be customizable, but we can't remove. Okay, now. So now sometimes whatever the applications has been given by Salesforce, these may not be sufficient. Because, for example, assume that here we are using all these standard application which has been given by Salesforce. Now it is working very fine. I'm very happy with these features. So recently we have entered into the banking sector also. We have started a new business. Okay, which is into the banking. We have started a new banking organization. So to automate that banking process, we need a banking application. Now tell me, do we have any ready-made banking application? No. I want to build my own banking application based on my requirement. Or else I want to build my own insurance application, my own consulting application, my own construction application, my own education related application. I want my own. So in this case here, we can build our own custom applications also. If the standard applications are not suitable, if you want some more additional application, then we can build. Those are called as custom applications. Custom applications can be built by the developer or the administrator. Only the Salesforce developer or the Salesforce administrator can build their own custom application based on the requirement over here. So in this case, whatever the custom applications has been built by the developer or the administrator, those custom applications we can customize. We can customize those applications. That means we can able to extend the functionality. And along with that, we can customize the features as well. Okay, we can customize the features. And along with that, if this application is not at all required, for example, assume that we have started a new banking organization. Okay, 1 year back, we have started a new banking organization. So now, to manage that banking related data, we have built a Salesforce application. Since almost 1 year, we are using that banking application, we are managing the data. But in this bank, I'm not generating much revenue. I got completely lost. Okay, I got some crores of loss in that banking division because we are unable to capture much customers. We are not successful in that banking organization, in that banking sector. So that I thought of, I would like to stop my business. I don't want to continue that banking organization. So I would like to stop that banking organization. So from now onwards, I don't want to use this banking application also. So at that time, if the application is not at all required for you, then we can able to remove that application also. That flexibility is available. Okay, whatever the custom applications that we have built, those custom applications we can customize and we can extend the functionality. We can leverage the functionality according to the business requirement, and along with that, if this application is not at all required for you, then we can remove that application from the organization as well. But if it is a standard application, standard applications are completely customizable, but we can't remove. We can't remove those standard applications which has been given by Salesforce to us. Because standard applications cannot be removable. But the custom applications we can able to remove from our organization. Whenever if it is not required for you, then we can able to remove that custom application from your organization over here. The flexibility is available to you. Now, so in this case, whenever we are going to be creating the custom applications here, okay, whenever we are creating the custom applications, Salesforce has given some limitations. So which are called as governor limits. Which are called as governor limits. So what are those kernel limits over here? So Salesforce is giving the limitations to you for each and every organization. Depends upon the edition. Okay, depends upon the edition. Salesforce has given some bandwidth. Salesforce has given some limitations. Those limitations are called as kernel limits in Salesforce. So in this case, as part of my organization, how many applications that I can build? Salesforce has given so many ready-made applications. Along with that, there is a provision to me that I can able to build my own custom applications also. Then at that time, how many applications that I can build? Do we have any limitations? Or can I build unlimited number of applications? Yes, there is some limitation is available here. So what is that limitation? Now let's see practically. So as part of this kernel limits over here, if you are using a free developer edition, in that free developer edition, we can build maximum of 10 custom applications. We can build maximum of 10 custom applications. We can build maximum of 10 custom applications inside the free developer edition. So whatever the free developer edition that we're using right now, inside that free developer edition, along with all the standard applications, we can build up to 10 custom applications over here. So these standard applications are not countable. Okay, custom applications will be counting by Salesforce, so we can create maximum of 10 custom applications. Next, second, if it is unlimited edition here, okay, if it is an unlimited edition of Salesforce, if you are using unlimited edition, then inside this unlimited edition, we can build unlimited number of custom applications. We can build unlimited number of custom applications. That flexibility is available. So if it is a free developer edition, we can build a maximum of 10 custom applications. If it is an unlimited edition, we can build unlimited number of custom applications. This the limitation has been given by Salesforce to you over here. Now, so now here in this case, now how can we see what applications are available as of now? Suppose for example, I have joined into a Salesforce team as a new team member here. So Salesforce has given so many ready-made applications that I know that. And might be these people has built so many applications also in the past. Then how do we know, how can we recognize whether that application is a standard or a custom? How do we know? In this case, if you want to see all those applications, whatever has been given by Salesforce and along with my custom applications. So at that time, we have to go to the setup menu. Go to the setup menu. We go to the build menu in the left panel. Click on create. Go to that apps. This is the navigation. By using this navigation, we can able to see what applications are available inside my organization. What application has been given by Salesforce, what application that you have created. Both we can able to see. The flexibility is available. That means we can able to list out all the standard applications as well as custom applications also at one place by using this navigation. So now let's see how can we do this one here. Okay, how can we identify whether that application is a standard or custom, and then what kind of operations we can do on that. Now let's see practically. So let's go with this navigation process over here. Now, so let's go to the setup menu, which will be available at the top right corner. We have that setup menu. Now in the left panel, you will be having the setup menu. There we have an option called as build menu here. Inside the build menu, you will be having create and then expand it. And inside that you will be having a first option called as apps. First option called as apps. So click on this apps link. Now we can able to see. So these are the various applications are available by default. So now there is a apps section is available. That means apps means applications. Okay, apps means applications. So these are the various applications out there. Analytics Studio, App Launcher, Community, Content, Marketing, Platform, Sales, Salesforce Charter, Sample Console, Service. Like that, all these applications has been listed out over here. So these are the various applications are available inside my organization. For every application, they have given some description over here. That means what this application will do, what kind of operations we can do, what kind of functionalities they have provided as part of this application. Everything they have given inside this description over here, so that we can able to see some information about this application itself. So you will be having the application names are also available over here, and then we can see the description of those applications also. That means what we can do with those applications, and what kind of functionalities they have provided, and what kind of things we can automate through this application we can able to see over here. And next one. So now tell me, how do we know is this application is a standard or custom? So inside this table, there is a column called as custom. Okay, there is a column called as custom. This is the checkbox column. There is a column called as custom column. Now, if it is a custom application, then it will be having a tick mark inside this. There is a checkbox is available here. Now, if the application is a custom application, it will be having a tick mark over here. But do we have any tick marks? No. That means what here? All are standard. Okay, all are standard applications over here. So, whatever the applications are available as of now, all are standard applications. These are not custom. These are purely standard applications over here. So that's what here, this checkbox is not yet selected as of now. These are all are standard. If the application is a custom application, the checkbox will be getting selected automatically by default over there. Now, then what kind of operations we can perform? Here you will be having a column called as action column. Okay, there is a column called as action column. So now what kind of actions we can perform? What kind of operations we can perform? Now it is having purely edit option. That means what? Just we can able to customize this application. Now tell me, do we have any delete button over here? No. That means what here? Whatever the standard applications has been given by Salesforce, we can able to customize these applications according to our business needs. We can leverage the functionality. We can add some more additional enhancements also, but we can't remove these applications from your organization. Okay, but we can't remove these applications from your organization. Just we can able to customize. So whatever the standard applications are available, if you want, we can use it. If you don't want, leave it, no problem. We can hide that application names as well. The flexibility is available. No, sometimes you can raise a question, sir. When coming to the Salesforce, not only the standard application, we are having custom applications also. Can I create my own application? Yes. Then how can we create your own custom application? In this case, to create your own custom application, Salesforce is providing a button called as new button. Then by using this new button, we can able to create our own custom application also. Okay, we can create our own custom application also. That flexibility is available. Now, in this case, how can we create our own custom applications? We'll see in tomorrow's session. In tomorrow's session, we'll see creating our own custom applications. Not only using these ready-made applications which has been given by Salesforce, I want to create my own custom applications also. How can we create our own custom applications? We'll see practically. There, we are going to be discussing about two scenarios. First one is, I want to create a custom application with a Salesforce image as a logo. But in the second scenario, I want to create an application with my own image as a logo. I don't want Salesforce image as a logo. I want my own image. Suppose if I'm building a banking application, I want to place that bank logo. If I'm building a finance application, that my finance application logo, I want to place it over here. I don't want to display the Salesforce image here. I want to display my one image. Then how can we display our own image as the logo for your applications? Now let's see practically in tomorrow's session. Both the scenarios we'll see practically. Once application creation has been done, then we'll move forward to the objects. What exactly an object? What is the use? How many types of objects are available? What limitations are there? How to create the objects? What will happen upon creating the object? We'll see. And then we'll see how to create the fields inside that. Okay, how to add the columns inside that object here. We'll see practically one by one. Okay. So tomorrow we'll see the custom applications here. How to create our own custom applications inside our Salesforce instance. We'll see practically with both the scenarios out there. How to use Salesforce image as a logo, and how can we create our application with our own custom image as a logo here. We'll see practically both.
Something about layouts will be covered later, I guess, right?
Yeah, layouts will be the later one.